Right, folks, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 21st. It is 8:30. Now, if you're you will be watching this, so you good people out there, you'll be watching this. I've waited till Wednesday morning to see if Brenda gets the sack. And obviously it hasn't at this moment, so 8:30 on Wednesday morning, he's still in charge of the King Power. Now, it's easy for me and others to sit here or in their own houses and talk about this. Chappers is doing it, Lee Chappers doing it, Leicester Fan TV, Phil's doing it, and it's quite interesting to watch people's opinions come through. But what I will say, when all said and done, we're not actually in charge of the club. We have nothing to do with the club. We just pay money, buy a shirt, buy the tickets, go buy the programmes and everything, and we go, and that's our way of, that's the only input we have into a club. Just like every other fan in every other club, all you can do is put money into the club and then let them take your money, and you hope they invest it into the club good enough to give you the support, to give you what you need out your team. So it's easy to sit here and do this, not so easy when you are actually in charge of a multi-million pound company, which is what Leicester City is, which is what any Premier League team is. It's a company nowadays. You can't get away from it. So April the 10th was Leicester's last win. I've made notes, so when you keep looking down here, you'll see the reflection in my glasses. April the 10th was Leicester's last win, and it was a 2-1 win against Palace, and I can't quite remember. I think we nearly fucked that up and all. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a little chat and say things that I think are contributing to the club's fall. I don't want arguments. These are just talking points that I'm doing. I just want people to think and see, just watch and see what we think's going off. And if you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. Put your comments down below. And just, there's no need for abuse or anything like that. So anyway, the King Power. The King Power. King Power Company, right? Massive company in Thailand. We all know that it deals with duty free. Now, during COVID, it's basically made fuck all money. I've got a graph here. In 2019, it made 2,670 million euros. In 2020, it made 907. That is a massive hit. COVID's basically fucked everything up, as we all know. It's screwed businesses over big style. We were following the science. Followed the science, and since following the science and all the advice and the expertise that whatever your opinions on COVID, it's basically fucked up. Now, I know Leicester City's ran as a separate business. It's ran as a football club. I think they try to create their own money. They try to fund the club from its own success with a little bit of help. But things have to be run properly. And King Power do have other businesses. I read somewhere that they're ploughing a load of money into Thailand football, and it's just that, they've got other interests. We've got that Oda Hoover Leuven, right? The Belgian team they've got. Now, I've just had a quick look at them, and they've had 9 new signings and spent under £1 million on players. Most are free transfers. They've not been splashing the cash out there. I don't understand why we haven't had a few free transfers, but I think the problem is our wage bill is so high, which I'll talk about in a bit, is ridiculous. So we could just go splashing cash, but I don't think they have got cash. I think they've got to be careful with what revenue, because although things are gradually getting better, and people are not following the science so much and things are easing up, they're nowhere near the 2,670 million euros they were making. So they've got to recover and start again and reorganise. And also, if you start spending money on a football club, you have the Fair Play Awards. Now, obviously, the Fair Play Awards are a great idea, absolutely brilliant idea. They apply to absolutely nobody like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man City, Man United, PSG, all your big clubs that have got lots of money, who are run by people with, well, Man United ain't got any wealth, have they? They've got just a lot of debt. That's another thing. How does that happen? How can a club have that much debt and yet keep going like they do? But I can guarantee that if we don't stick by them FIFA Fair Play fucking awards, we would be hit. We would get hit. So you've got that lunacy there as well. Now, many years ago, Leicester nearly went bust. And we don't want that to happen again, do we, folks? We don't want to be in the situation where Emil Heskey is lending us money or giving us money to bail us out of shit. I don't think we will ever go bust, because when all said and done, I know I've just said that we're not making any money. I don't think King Power top would allow it to actually happen. So he's running a business and he's got to run it properly, and that's how it is. Now, we're going on about that we've not bought any new players in, right? Now, yeah, I agree. We haven't, well, I can't not agree, can we? We've bought one in. Lost a few. Never re-signed people like Lookman. So it's left us a week. But what I will say, now, even though we haven't bought anybody in, that team, right, is still, I'm trying not to swear on this one, is still better than 1 point in 7 games. I don't care what people are saying, where it's saying, oh, well, we've not brought anybody in, what do you expect? No, I don't agree that we're a team that's only good enough for 1 point out of 7. And don't forget the balls up of bloody Stockport, yeah? 0-0, with all due respect to Stockport, 0-0, really? Can we just get like back in the room and say, that's another joke? That team out there is better than 1 point in 7 Premier League games. Especially when we've been in front a few games. Now, some are saying that he doesn't have a plan B. Brenda doesn't have a plan B. I don't think Brenda's got a plan A at the moment. The only plan he's got is to get out of Leicester City. At the moment, we could go and start a game, we could score 3 goals, we'd still lose 5-3. We could score 6 goals, we'd still lose 9-6. So, at the moment, I think, and I want him gone. I want him gone. I wanted him gone. Last year I was saying we've got to stick with him. We've had injuries, this and that's happened, blah, blah, blah. But his organisational play is absolutely woeful. Terrible. There is no organisation. Anything. But I'll move on to that. So I want him gone. I want him gone, and I want, now we've got the international break, get rid of him and get somebody in, and the players that are here, while they're here for a fortnight, while they're not out on international duty, we could have started some work on, but obviously it's not going to happen. And I'll tell you, I'm going to try and tell you why I think he's not been sacked in a bit. But I still want him gone. I know that sounds hypocritical, but there you go. They say we can't afford to get rid of him, but because we can't afford to buy any players, we can't afford to get rid of Brendan. We sold Fofana, right? Bought the lad in, I can't remember his bloody name, looks like David Luiz. Wuss or worse or something. can we not pay him off with some of that money? If we can't afford to pay Brendan Rodgers off now, and don't expect any players at Christmas. Don't expect any goodies in your stocking at Christmas, because that's what it'll be. If we've got no money now, we've got no money for then. And it's sometimes making me wonder if we're actually saying, let's go down, regroup and start again. I don't know. The thing as well is, if we sack Brendan Rodgers, that's going to cost us what, between 10 and 16 million pounds. I think somebody's saying it's 10 million to get rid of him. But then you're going to have to get a new manager in. I would have Sean Dyche in, because I think he's a no nonsense, no messing, lay the boot in and get people going again manager, and I think that's what they need. But to get rid of Rodgers is 10 million. To get Dyche in on an 18-month contract, would he want 18 months? Would he want to soil his career coming here and struggling with his team, or would it actually improve his team and give him a good CV for a better club, a bigger club than Leicester? But then if he does that, he'll want to bring his team in, and that's going to cost more money. Now, would it be worth it to get rid of him for 10 million? I personally think it would be worth to get rid of him. The other thing is that the players that Brendan bought in last year have hardly set the league on fire, have they? They've hardly been a success to the team. They've hardly, Daka has come on and done a little bit, but he's hardly changed the team. He's hardly going to replace Jamie, is he? It's, the scouting down Leicester is not as good as it was, and anybody that goes in for a player now from Leicester will want big money. So I don't think. You see, you've also got that other thing, is that anybody he has brought in, would it actually improve the team? Because everybody he's brought in at the moment hasn't really been any better. But another question is Top at his depth? Vichai always knew what he wanted to do. He was the man, he was the boss, he knew, he was the boss. And while Leicester were doing well after the death of the chairman, things were okay as such. I think we were still living on the emotion of the death of the chairman, and things seemed to just go along. But at this moment, now things are getting bad, as Top got it in him to be the man, to be the boss, to sort things out. Because at this moment, he might look like a rabbit in the headlights. And I don't want to say that, because what I seriously don't want to happen is that all the hard work and the love and the money that they've put into the club could be lost through stubbornness. It's just one of them things, isn't it, where we've actually got to look at what is actually happening. I also think whoever's been dealing with the transfers needs looking at. Vestergaard, or Vandergaard, or Vanderbilt, or Vandervelk, or whatever his name is, it's £75,000 a week. I won't pay that a year. I wouldn't pay that anyway. And the joke is that when Ndidi's on form, he's on 76k a week. How can that be? How can he be that Ndidi's just £1,000 a week better than him? It's a joke. Moving on to the play, I don't think teams are beating Leicester. I think Leicester are beating themselves with silly errors, schoolboy errors. These are errors that are being made on kids' football. We're just giving the ball away. We're losing a man. We're not concentrating. If you're on £70,000 a week, more in some cases, Tielemans must be on £100,000 a week, and he gives the ball away. I think the difference is with Tielemans is that Tielemans is a far better player than he should be in a different team than Leicester. I don't think Leicester players are actually moving to where he needs the ball. He sees a different game. I said this a couple of years ago. Tielemans sees a different game. He does trap back, he does chase, he does try to do the thing, but I think he's just so defeated with the way that we play. I think Tielemans has lost it. But we're just giving the ball away. Silly fucking errors all the while. And Ndidi's error at the back I wouldn't put it down to him, but there were no shouting, man on. It was just putting him in. He's another one. He's playing out of position. You're playing Ndidi there at the back kind of thing, and he's losing out on position. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I went to the Southampton game, and it was just errors after error. It's just pathetic. Now we have a new set-piece coach, Lars Knudsen. And you might be thinking, where the hell did we find him from? Well, I'm going to tell you. I've done a little bit of a look at where he's from. He's now in place at City after a 2-month wait for a visa. Great planning there then, see, isn't it? 2-month wait for a visa. What the hell's that about? It's like everything that Leicester do. It's all like waits until the last minute. It's like me. It's like jobs around the house. I just do them at the last minute. But this is completely different. He's now in place at Leicester after a 2-month wait for a visa. The former Midtjylland assistant manager, Midtjylland, from Cloud Cuckoo Land, assistant manager, looked to resolve the club's Achilles heel. Leicester City specialist set-piece coach has finally arrived at the club to help. He arrived at the club last week. Manager Brendan Rodgers has confirmed after a 2-month delay he's recruited a set-piece coach, but that's the process of bringing him in. Has taken him 3 or 4 weeks. They're just making excuses. The Dane is highly rated in the field, and he will double up with his duties as set-piece coach for the United States national team. So he's not even doing it here full time. He's fannying around with the Yanks as well. So when they're doing the World Cup, right, he'll be too busy thinking about the World Cup instead of sorting our bloody defence out. He's been appointed to the role earlier in the summer in preparation for the World Cup in Badland this winter. Previously was head coach of Denmark's national youth team. Got a bloke who works with bloody kids. That's a bit like Southgate, isn't it? Southgate worked with the bloody under-60s or something, didn't he, before he got the national job. While he was former assistant manager at Midtjylland, where he won the Danish title. Danish football, that's a high-quality standard, isn't it? The club's success was built on a strong set-piece game, with 25 of their 80 goals coming from dead balls. Well, that sounds about like us. Only 25 of our goals are coming in at the other end because we can't defend them. So Danish football isn't that good. So I don't think he's really the man for the job. I would actually like to know if Rodgers does actually go out on the training ground, or if he's sitting in his office playing FIFA or blooming whatever games, Candy Crush, or just watching the news or watching TV programmes in his office. Does he actually go out on the training ground, or is he one of them that just walks out? I mean, it wasn't that Ranieri's thing in the end, that he wasn't at training, that got him out. But I will ask the question of this. Is this the reason why Rodgers hasn't been sacked? As this new appointment, who has only just rolled up, is this the thing that's stopping Rodgers from getting the sack? Is it so these two can work together and give it a chance? Or is Top saying, right, you've got so many games to get this defensive shambles sorted out? I mean, we're scoring goals, but we're just not scoring enough, and we're not defending. So is this the reason why Brenda is still in charge at Leicester? Is it giving these two a go together? But the problem is, you can have the best defensive coach in the world, but when you've got a keeper like Danny Ward, and I don't want to sound nasty or anything, but his positioning is woeful. Absolutely woeful. You see him and he's nowhere near where he should be in this box. Evans, love Johnny Evans. Hope he stays at the club. Hope he gets a coaching role at the club. He's getting old, he's getting slow. His organisation skills are pretty good, but he's just too old and slow now. And it's showing. So moving back on to Brenda, I need to know if he's got the fight for the battle of relegation to stop up. Or will he just continue doing what he's doing? I mean, I personally don't think he's got it in him to battle for the Premier League or the top four, because we threw that away. And now, has he got it in him to battle for relegation? I mean, really, when you think of him, he screwed up at Liverpool. He went to Scotland, he went to Celtic, Scottish football. With all due respect to the Scottish people who watch, Scotland football is like just Rangers and Celtic. It just goes to show how the standard of football Rangers have got back something like in 10 years from where they were. So it's, I don't mean to be disrespectful for Scottish football, but you know what I mean? And I don't think Brenda has got it in him. So we've got Forest coming up. There's a couple of ways of looking at this. Do we go out there and try and win? Do we as Leicester fans want, now this is going to sound stupid, but this is what I'm just putting out to you. If we go out there and beat Forest, is that just a sticking plaster over a real massive wound? Is that somebody who's had a major artery cut and we're just putting a band-aid over it? Because if he wins, people will think, oh, he's doing well here. Or do we actually want Forest to beat us and it might finish him and get rid of him? But there again, if we've got this new coach in, and if that's Top's plan to keep him in and give him a chance, it's just a tough one. It's just a complete fucking mess. Because I tell you what, and I'm not telling anybody to do this, we've got enough trouble in the city at night times as it is. But if we don't beat Forest, it's going to be ugly in that ground. It isn't going to be nice at all. That is the question though, isn't it? Do we need to win against Forest, or do we need to lose to get rid of him? Because that's how bad it has got at Leicester at the moment. I personally think that we might need to lose to get rid of him, but I don't think we will. There's so many questions, there's so many theories, there's so many ideas of what is going off. It is absolutely terrifying. Well, it's not terrifying, is it? Fuck me, Dave. Get a grip. But it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder what's going on. And the other thing as well is that if there's talk of Brendan playing to get the sack. If he is playing to get the sack, that is gross misconduct. Surely that is not fulfilling your contract. I don't know. Now, no doubt some players will be, some pundits, experts will be out there saying all Leicester players have let Brendan down. They've down tools and stuff. I do actually think Maddison's trying. To be fair, I do think Maddison's trying to put a shift in every game, as such. But I don't think it's the fact that players are down tools. I just don't think the players know what to do. I just don't know if they know what what the instructions are. They just look lost. I don't think they've actually put the tools down. They're just looking around and to say, we don't know what we're doing. When all said and done, you could be the best footballer in the world, right? But the rest of the team needs instructions. They need discipline. They need to know what they're doing. They need to know what each role is. They need to know what the opposition are doing, and you need to pick that player up, and that's in on a corner on the throw, and you do this, you do that. There doesn't seem to be any of that at King Power at the moment. It just seems to be totally lost. So we've got games coming up, right? We've got Forest, Bournemouth, Palace, Leeds and Wolves. Every team there, there's 3 points in every game there to Leicester. There's 3 points in every game, I think. We should be able to beat them teams with proper organisation. With the team we've got now, with the players we've got now, we should get at least 9 points out of that. And I'm not having a go at the Forest and the Bournemouth, the Palace, Leeds and Wolves fans. Don't. We could do these. We could win 3 of them games. If we were organised properly and managed properly, we could get 9, 10 points out of them games. But at the moment, I can't even see us getting a point. Because, like I've said, we could score 3 goals, they'll score 5. We're a mess. We're an embarrassment. And it has to go with the manager. But now it's starting to creep up to the top man. He has the ultimate say in the end. Top has the ultimate say of what happens at his club, him and his father's club. He has the ultimate say. And we as Leicester fans have to appreciate that. He's not let us down. But I just hope he knows what he's doing here. I wish they would actually come out and say some words of encouragement to the fans so we know what is going off. I know they haven't got to. But some of the interviews are just sound bites. They're just Brendan's passing on the blame to everybody else apart from himself. Yet Brenda is the man in charge. He'll take the plaudits when they win something. He's got to put his hand up and say, "I've fucked up there." I say, folks, put your comments down below. Please be respectful. If not, I will block you. Laters.